Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Jaya Raja Janaranjana Jaya Raja Janaranjana Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Jayo Girivaradhari Gopi Janavallabha Yashodanandana Jaya Vraja Janaranjana Jaya Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Jaya Vraja Janaranjana Jaya Vraja Janaranjana Yamunatiravanachari Kunja Vihari Yamunatiravanachari Jaya Kunja Vihari Yamunatiravanachari Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayet. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, chapter 69. Narada visits Krishna's palaces. Text from 9 to 50. And the text is 9. Okay. Vishtabdham vidrumastam bhair Vaidurya phalakottamai Indra nilamayai kudyai Jagatya chahatatvisha Vishtabdham vidrumastam bhair Vaidurya phalakottamai Indra nilamayai kudyai Jagatya chahatatvisha Vishtabdham vidrumastam bhair Vaidurya phalakottamai Indra nilamayai kudyai Jagatya chahatat visha.
Ishtabdham vidrumasthambhaye Vaidurya palakottamai Indra nilamayai kujai Jagatya chahatat visa
Jagatya chahatat visha.
Vishdam Vidrumastambe Vaidurya Palakottame Nila Maye Kudye Jagatya Chahata Trisha
Ladies.
Ishtabdam vidrumastambai Madhurya palakottamai Indra nilamayai kudyai Jagatya kalvatat visa
Vishdam Vidrumastambe Vaidurya Palakottame
Indra
Nilamaya Kujai
Jagatya chahatat visha. Vishtabdham, supported. Vidruma, of coral. Stambhai, by pillars. Vaidurya, of Vaidurya gems. Palaka, with decorative coverings. Uttamai, excellent. Indranilamayai, bedecked with sapphires. Kudyai, with walls. Jagatya, with a floor. Cha, and ahata, constant. Visha, whose effulgence. And the next verses. Vittanair nirmitaistvashtra muktadama vilambibhi dantair asana priyankai manyuttama parikshitai dasibhir nishkita kathibhir suvasubhir alankratam pumbhisa kanchuko shnisha suvastra manikundale. And then the 12th verse. Ratna pradipa nikara jyutibhir nirastra dvantam vichitra valabhishu shikhandi donga nrityanti yatra vihita guru dhupamakshay niryant amiksha gana buddhaya unnadhantam. Translation. Supporting the palace were coral pillars decoratively inlaid with Vaidurya gems. Sapphires bedecked the walls, and the floors glowed with perpetual brilliance. In that palace, Tvashta had arranged canopies with hanging strands of pearls. There were also seats and beds fashioned of ivory and precious jewels. In attendance were many well-dressed maidservants bearing lockets on their necks, and also armor-clad guards with turbans, fine uniforms, and jeweled earrings. The glow of numerous jewel-studded lamps dispelled all darkness in that palace. My dear king, on the ornate ridges of the roof danced loudly crying peacocks, who saw the fragrant aguru incense escaping through the holes of the latticed windows and mistook it for a cloud. Purport. Srila Prabhupada writes, this is from Krishna book, There was so much incense and fragrant gum burning that the scented fumes were coming out of the windows. The peacocks became illusioned by the fumes, mistaking them for clouds, and began dancing jubilantly. There were many maidservants, all of whom were decorated with gold necklaces, bangles, and beautiful saris. There were also many male servants who were nicely decorated in cloaks and turbans and jeweled earrings. Beautiful as they were, the servants were all engaged in different household duties. So, what is this description? Do you remember? Where we are now? In Dwaraka, in one of Krishna's palaces. And who is observing this? Narada Muni. Verse number 13. Tasmin samana gunarupa vayasuvesha dasi sahasrayutayanusavam grihinya viproda darsha chamaragya janena rukma dandena sattvatavatim parivijayantya. In that palace, the learned Brahmana saw the Lord of the Sattvatas, Shri Krishna, together with his wife, who fanned him with a gold-handled yak-tail fan. She personally served him in this way, even though she was constantly attended by 1,000 maidservants, equal to her in personal character, beauty, youth, and fine dress. What did you see, Narada? Fanning Krishna, and there were so many maidservants who were equal to her. In what respect? In beauty, rupa, in their guna, qualities, personal qualities, then youth, yes, vaya, and also fine dress. Wow, you're attentive. Suvesha. But although there are thousands of servants equal to her in these qualities, she still preferred to serve Krishna personally. And then number 14. Tam sanni riksha bhagavan sahasuttita shri paryankatah sakala dhatta britam varishtha anamya pada yugalam shirasa kirita jushtena sanjalir avivivishasane sve. The Supreme Lord is the greatest upholder of all religious principles. Thus, when he noticed Narada, he rose at once from Goddess Shri's bed, bowed his crowned head at Narada's feet, and joining his palms, had the sage sit in his own seat. Sve asane. He put him to sit in his own seat. Text 15. Tasyaiva nidja charanau tadapasva murdha bhibrat jagat gurutamo pisatam pyatirhi brahmanya deva itiyat gunanama yuktam tasyaiva yacharana shauchamashesha tirtham. The Lord bathed Narada's feet and then put the water on his own head. Although Lord Krishna is the supreme spiritual authority of the universe and the master of his devotees, it was proper for him to behave in this way. For his name is Brahmanya Deva, the Lord who favors the Brahmanas. Thus Sri Krishna honored the sage Narada by bathing his feet, even though the water that bathes the Lord's own feet becomes the Ganges, the ultimate holy shrine. Purport. Since Lord Krishna's own lotus feet are the source of the most holy Ganges, the Lord did not have to purify himself by bathing Narada Muni's feet. Rather, as Srila Prabhupada explains, quote, Lord Krishna in Dwarka enjoyed the pastimes of a perfect human being. When therefore he washed the feet of the sage Narada and took the water on his head, Narada did not object, knowing well that the Lord did so to teach everyone how to respect saintly persons. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadama Him Dadati Swapadantigam Bandeham Shri Guru Shri Jutapadakamanam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Scha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Lalita Sagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Scha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpati Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishadhanu Sutya Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyaya Chapatitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, in this chapter, Shukadeva Goswami relates the story of how Narada Muni one day decided to see Lord Krishna and how he was performing his pastimes in Dwarka. Narada Muni is a special devotee who travels, and he always had a mission to distribute Krishna Bhakti to others. So now here comes to observe Lord Krishna so that he can relate later of the wonderful qualities of pastimes of the Lord. And as we will see from this chapter, he will be astonished to see how Lord Krishna performed different activities in each palace with his different queens. But now the first thing which is astonishing for us, I guess, is that he comes and the Lord immediately gets up and offers obeisances, washes his feet and puts the water on his head. And Narada sits and does not protest. So we can imagine this scene, of course, how everything was beautiful. That's how it started, the detailed description of the palace and the jewels, and then the aguru fumes. Anyone knows what aguru is?
I'm not sure if I'm mistaken with another one. Is it from a tree?
Yeah, from a root.
Is it crystallized something, or that's probably camphor? It's a little different.
I don't know how it looks like if it's actually crystallized. Probably looks like Prabhupada says here, like a gum. But yeah, it's coming from a root of a tree, and it has a very earthy, very strong, wonderful aroma. And Krishna's bodily fragrance is also a mixture of aguru. What else? Musk. Kasturi. Musk, and what else? Sandal. Yeah. Sometimes it's called saffron. So, yes, it's a wonderful atmosphere. So many beautiful maidservants and servants with turbans, and Rukmini is fanning Lord Krishna. Why is she doing that? It specifically says there are so many thousands of maidservants and they are equal to her. Why she is doing that? She is the queen. That's why the servants have to do this menial service.
It's a privilege.
It's a privilege to serve Krishna.
To worship Krishna also.
Okay.
It's like the best position, so why shouldn't she claim the position?
Okay, so she is the privilege to to serve directly Krishna. Any other opinions?
To show the greatness of devotional service. Doesn't matter who you are serving Krishna, there's nothing better. And any service is
Any service is wonderful, and no matter who you are, even if you are God Himself, like all other expansions of Krishna, beginning from Balaram, they all have this strong desire to serve Krishna. All the avatars, the Chaturvyuha and all the Purusha avatars, Advaitacharya prays in Chaitanya Charitamrita, I'm just a servant. I'm a servant. I'm the servant of Lord Chaitanya. This is my position. Although he is God Himself, but everyone is longing for this special position. Only Krishna cannot, because he is Swayam Bhagavan. So he has to receive that service. But he also wants to relish it, right? Because this is so sweet. So what he does? He takes a form of a devotee. Comes like Lord Chaitanya. So Rukmini is serving Krishna personally, and Krishna is accepting the service. Why? We could say that's his job. He is God, so everybody is serving him, right? Is there something more?
Bhakti and devotion, love and devotion.
Hmm?
Love and devotion of Rukmini.
He accepts the love and devotion of Rukmini. Yes. Yes. And then what he does? He starts serving his own devotee. Why he is doing that?
to teach us that the devotees are more worshipable than the Lord.
Okay, that's what we heard. He is the supreme teacher, Guru Uttama, of the whole universe. So he is teaching by example. Yes, the great saints, they should be worshipped by anyone. Even I, although I'm God, I worship them. So he's showing an example to teach others, but is that the only reason? He's just playing a role to teach others. Yes?
Because of love.
Yes, yes. He's receiving service because of love, and he's also offering service because of love. So you see, there's so much loving exchanges. That's the only exchanges you have in the spiritual world. It's just exchanges of love, offering service and accepting service. And we see Krishna here, he's so happy. And Narada is also taking that service. Also because of love, right? Can you imagine if Krishna, you go on the altar to serve Krishna and suddenly Krishna gets down and starts worshipping you, what you'll do?
You're supposed to stay there.
Get up, I'm supposed to worship. Yeah, that normally an ordinary devotee would be embarrassed, right? He would not, but such exalted devotees like Narada Muni, he is also teaching by example. Narada Muni is doing that, but also he's in ecstasy. He's just so amazed to see his sweet Lord offering service also out of love. So Narada is just smitten by his love, by Krishna's love, and then he just absorbed in that, in relishing this exchange. So yes, the servant offers service and serves the master, and the master also offers service, and we see that also in Vrindavana pastimes especially, where this mood of awe and reverence is very much subdued, almost non-existent, because of, as Raghunath Das Goswami explains, because of the great ocean of prema. It just washes away all this type of awe and reverence and kind of a fear out of feeling the inferior position of a servant. But in Vrindavana, the prema is of such intensity that although they know who Krishna is, essentially, when they talk, Nanda Maharaj and the other Gopas, and they did discuss, they tell him, your son is not just an ordinary child. Look what he's doing. Amazing activities. And he's so attractive, so he must be special. And then they kind of conclude, he must be Narayana himself. But still, that doesn't change their specific love, parental love. And Nanda Maharaj says, yes, he might be Narayana, but still I'm his father and I have to punish him if he's not behaving properly. That's my duty. So Krishna relishes this mood that his devotees, they offer him love by that feeling of he's dependent on me. Krishna is the source of everything, but the parents, they think, no, he's just a tender child. I have to feed him, I have to take care, I have to protect, I have to educate. So that's that love. And the gopis also, they're covered by Yoga Maya, so they consider Krishna their lover and they joke with him and they sometimes chastise him, and sometimes Krishna is serving them, like when they exhibit, Srimati Radharani exhibits her mana, her loving anger, and Krishna tries to appease her, and he goes and offers obeisances, massages her feet, and she says, no, I don't want to see her. Whatever he does. And who is the only helper in that situation, do you know? Who is saving Krishna? That's probably many different ways. But Raghunath Das Goswami, in one poem, he says, in the same poem where actually, he says that the love of the devotees in Vraja is so intense that they forget who Krishna is, his position as God. It's Vraja Vilasa Stava, describing the different associates of Krishna, different places. So he says that when nobody is successful in removing Srimati Radharani's loving anger, then the only friend of Krishna is his flute. And then when the flute comes, and the sounds of the flute, and she's happy. Okay, so that's in Vrindavan, but what I was saying in the 31st chapter, the Gopi Gita, in the 10th canto, we see that the gopis say, they're singing and calling for Krishna to appear. So they say, you're not the son of Yashoda, you are actually the supreme Atma in everyone's heart. So they know Krishna is the supreme Lord. But still, the next verse they say, please come and put your hand on your heads. Which is, very intimate desire. An ordinary servant will not desire that type of closeness. So this is there in Goloka Vrindavan, and we see it in Dvaraka to some extent, although there Krishna is the king and he is understood as the supreme. So we can, by hearing these descriptions, we can first hear, then we can visualize them as much as we can from these descriptions, and then we can try to experience, enter the mood, not just mechanically hear some story. Okay, she's fanning, Narada comes, he gets up, washes his feet. Okay, what's next? But we can be absorbed in the story and just try to feel the experience of although of course we can't, but at least we can try to be in tune of the rasa, of what is actually happening, what's their exchange. And Krishna's example of worshipping the feet of a devotee, there are so many places where he directly says that, and he does it, and he says to Arjuna those devotees who claim to be my devotees are actually not my devotees, but those who are devotees of my devotees, they are my real devotees. So Bhagavatam is very emphatic on that. There are so many places where the feet of the Mahat, of the great saintly devotees of the Lord, are put in such a high position that they are worshipable even for Krishna. But especially for us, that's given us the only way that we can attain Krishna, through the lotus feet of the great devotees. Can anyone remember some verses in that connection from Bhagavatam? Yes. So through service of the Mahat, what happens? Something is opened.
The door to heaven, the liberation process.
Right. Yes. Is the path. The path to attaining Krishna is through service of the lotus feet of the great. So who is saying that? Lord Rishabhadev, teaching to his sons. That's in 5th canto, in the beginning. And then a little bit late in the 5th canto, also there is one very famous verse. 5th canto?
No, it's not that there when he said it.
Yeah, there is a verse from Prahlad Maharaj, but let's first try to remember the 5th canto. What's another famous story in the 5th canto besides Lord Rishabhadev?
Yes. So is it King Rahul?
Yes. Jada Bharata, Rahuganath. So he says there that there is no other way that you can attain perfection better than serving. Actually, not even serving, he says, Vina Mahatpada Rajo Vishekam. The Mahatpada, the feet of the Mahat, the great devotees. Raja means dust. And Abhisheka means what? To sprinkle. So unless you sprinkle your head with the dust of the feet of the Mahat, Vina, without that, very difficult to attain perfection. So that's in the conversation of Rahuganath and Jada Bharat. And then the same expression is used by Prahlad Maharaj, right? He says, Pada Rajo Vishekam Mahiyasam. Again, the Mahat, the great devotees, they are Pada Rajo Vishekam. And in what connection Prahlad Maharaj says to whom he is speaking?
His father.
To his father. Why he will tell him that, my dear father, you cannot attain Krishna without sprinkling your head with the dust of the feet of the devotees.
Because his father had an issue with pride.
So he was trying to help him. No, his father was asking, where did you learn that nonsense of worshipping Vishnu? Because that's Prahlad Maharaj said, this is the best I learned. He said, where did you learn that? Who contaminated your heart? The enemy had infiltrated our school. And then he was asking him, and Prahlad started these amazing verses, beginning with Matirna Krishna Parato Svatova. No one can have Krishna in his mind. Matirna Krishna Parato Svatova. And if you are Griha Vrata, if you're very, very determined to enjoy material happiness, if you're focused only on that, Krishna will not enter in your heart. And then he says this famous verse, people are so unfortunate, so bewildered, they're looking here and there, searching for so many goals, working hard day and night, but they don't know the real goal of life. It's Svartagatim hi Vishnu, the real artha, the most precious thing is Vishnu. And his father is Vishnu. I don't want to hear that name. And then in the next verse he says, Naisham matistat urukramangrim. You cannot attain Krishna You cannot have Krishna consciousness. That's his answer, basically. How you got Krishna consciousness? Well, you cannot by this, and this. The only way is, he says, Mahiyasham Padarajobhishekam, if you sprinkle your head with the dust of the feet. Nishkinchana namna vrimita yavat. So, my father, dear father, don't worry, you will not be contaminated. You are completely fixed on your material goals, and then you will never do that to worship and serve the feet. Because why this feet and why this dust? Why not something else? Why not dust from the hands or something? Why only the feet? Any?
One is
Ideas?
basically, when we look at it from the opposite way, material is considered the most impure place, the last thing you want to touch. But actually, spiritually, just showing that actually everything is transcendental. Even the thing that materially you would say you don't generally touch the feet, so much.
Okay, so transcendentally, even something which is low, when you do it, show that it's the transcendental is beyond. That's there, but in general, like in India, we have here guests. I'm sure you're in the culture, the children always, or anyone who is younger, always to the superiors, touching the feet and looking for blessings, right? The inferior, younger always touches the feet, and the others says, "Bless you."
I think maybe because everything is resting in the feet.
Everything rests on the feet, so we take shelter of the supreme shelter.
I mean, the whole person, the whole body is resting
Okay.
on the feet. So that's the essence of the
It's the base. Okay. So everything is resting on the feet. Any other? Yes.
Because the feet of the saintly people are also touching the ground, and we consider ourselves as low as the ground and as dirty as the ground, so we can touch their feet because they're already touching the ground, so we are a bit dirty. The feet we can touch.
Okay. Very vivid description. We feel like a dirt on the ground, so we go so much down that we're so dirty, like the dirt. So we are the feet. Yes, Prabhuji.
The beginning of learning and the beginning of your devotional path is that you realize that identifying with the false ego is not going to give the solution, and the beginning is there from that you become humble, that you open yourself, that you surrender. Going down is like surrender.
Yes.
You see this in the animal kingdom.
Yes.
A little animal is attacked by a big one. He drops like that, He's dead. He surrenders. So becoming humble.
Yeah.
That is that is necessary to start hearing.
Yes. Yeah. So this is of course a symbol of humbleness. Of I'm lower, you are higher. And as you say, this is the beginning of learning. You cannot actually, that's what Krishna says. Pranipat exactly means bowing down. I'm lower, please give me knowledge. Pranipat. We show humbleness in that way, but also, it's all of these very points. But I was leading in that direction. We go down to show our humility and to show readiness for seva, for service, because you only bow down to someone if you of course sincere. You can just do it as a pose. But if you're sincere and you bow down, you're showing I'm ready to serve. I'm yours. That's the whole point. That's why the feet and the dust of the feet are please, engage me in service. Let me serve you. I'm yours. I'm surrendering, as you say. I'm surrendering and I'm ready to serve. So this dust of the feet is very special. It gives the greatest benefit, the greatest benediction. And in the 6th canto, it is also described. This is in relation to, who is saying that? In the beginning. Kechit Kevalaya Bhaktya Vasudeva Praya. Okay, so this was just the beginning of 6th canto, when you remember that question of Parikshit Maharaj. He was wondering how can you get purified from sinful reactions, agha, your contamination, which gives suffering and keeps you in this world. And he was saying this prayaschita process, which is prescribed to counteract the sins, how is it working actually? Isn't that, and Prabhupada says, very intelligent disciple, he's saying, this prayaschita, isn't it like the elephant bath? He goes and takes nice bath and then goes up and throws again, dust over. So if this process I'm making sins, then I do prayaschita, I purify, then I do sin, I do prayaschita to counteract it. Isn't that useless, ultimately? So, Narada Muni confirms, yes, actually, that purifies but will not cure the disease. The disease in the heart will continue propelling you to commit more sin. And then you try to counteract, but if you don't cure the disease, there is no way of escaping. So what did he recommend? How to cure the disease? What is actually the disease? Rit Roga, yes, it's the ignorance causing all other contaminations like kama, krodha, lobha, matsari, etc. So, ignorance. And how do you cure that?
Knowledge.
By knowledge, right. So he's telling you, if you cultivate knowledge, you will remove the disease. And then how you cultivate knowledge? A couple of verses he explains the standard process of developing knowledge. It's a famous verse Prabhupada quotes often. Tapasa brahmacharena shamena cha damena cha. You start with, kind of cleaning your life and putting it in order, being austere, restricted, and controlling the mind, controlling the senses, all these activities. But then he goes on and says something that says, well, actually these things, they are fine, but the real thing is something else. Yeah, but before he says, Kechit Kevalaya Bhaktya, with pure bhakti, unalloyed bhakti, Kevala bhakti, to Vasudeva, then Agam Dhruvanti Kartsneya, this agam, this dirt in the heart, it's removed. Dhruvanti completely removed. Kartsneya means without any possibility to be again accumulated. Just like the fog, he says, Niharam iva bhaskara, when the sun comes and removes the fog, and then it's gone. That's it. It's shining. There's no more ignorance. And then he says, Natadha hyagavam rajan puyeta tapa adibi. Actually, the best is, there is nothing better to remove this contamination, even better than tapa, etc., the austerities and everything. Then he says, Yadha Krishnar Pita Pranas Tat Purusha Nishevaya. He says, if you do service, Nishevaya, to that person, Tat Purusha, who is Krishnar Pita Prana. Very nice expression. So there are some persons who have special quality. If you find such person and serve them, you don't need anything. And that's much, much better than anything else, than all the described methods. And who are these persons? Krishna Arpita Prana. Prana means prana, okay? Life air, your life. And Arpita means to offer. Arati comes from that, offering. Arpita also means to put into, actually invest it in. So those whose lives are completely given to Krishna. if you can worship and serve, Nisheva also means worship. If you worship and serve such persons, then you're purified, your ignorance is destroyed, then you attain Krishna. Krishna Arpita Prana. And then there's another very special prayer by Dhruva Maharaj. What we remember usually is that when Narayan asked him, what blessing do you want? And we remember usually that Dhruva said what? I was looking for some broken pieces of glass. I found a diamond. What can I want? I have you. But still, this is usually what devotees, it's also what Prahlad Maharaj said to Nrsimhadev. I don't want anything. For I'm not a merchant, I'm not a vanik. I just want to serve you. But still, the Lord wants, no, you have to ask for something. You have my darshan, you have to ask. So Prahlad asked for something and Dhruva Maharaj asked. So you remember what he asked. It's a very important verse. And the purport is even more important for our practical life. He says, Bhaktim muhu pravahatam tvayi me prasango. So, first he's asked, I want devotion to you. Bhakti muhu, always, to have always devotion for you. And also to associate prasanga with your Mahatam. Bhuyat ananta mahatam amalashayana. With your great devotees whose hearts are completely clean. This is my core desire. Please give me a chance to associate with those great devotees. And Srila Prabhupada writes, it's a short purport, but it's so powerful. The significant point in Dhruva Maharaj's statement is that he wanted the association of pure devotees. Transcendental devotional service cannot be complete and cannot be relishable without the association of devotees. Cannot be complete, cannot be relishable. And then Prabhupada says, that's why we created this International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Anyone who is trying to be aloof from this Krishna Consciousness Society and yet engage in Krishna consciousness is living in great hallucination. You remember that? For this is not possible. What is not possible? To
practice Krishna Bhakti outside of the
aloof, outside of the association of devotees. Right. From this statement by Dhruva Maharaj, it is clear that unless one is associated with devotees, his devotional service does not mature. It does not become distinct from material activities. Oh, that's really heavy, huh? It does not become distinct from material activities. Well, let me finish the sentence. The Lord says, Satam prasangam mama viru samvido. That's from 3rd canto. Only in the association of pure devotees can the words of Lord Krishna be fully potent and relishable to the heart and ear. One might say, well, if I don't have association of devotees, I'm in some island somewhere. How if I try to practice, I chant, I remember Krishna, why will that be not different from material activities? Anyone? Actually, there are devotees I heard who did practice without any association because they're somewhere very remote, in some remote place. But they did have association. That's how they got to practice, because you cannot come up with yourself. Somebody must have told you, or you have heard from it. So they got, of course, the association of Prabhupada through his books. They fully dedicated to following what Prabhupada was saying, so they associated with Prabhupada. So that's, of course, the association through Vani, through words, through message, through hearing. And it's very important. We have to be always connected with our acharyas through their words, their songs, their expression of their hearts, be connected, and also associate with devotees, because in that way we can have that exchange, loving exchange, and advance very quickly, and be protected also, and be able to serve, because that service is possible in the association of devotees. So, and the last verse I will quote here is that although the dust of the feet of the great devotees is most beneficial and essential, is there any danger in that dust? Do you know what Narottam Das Thakur says about the dust of the 6 Goswamis? H.I. Goswami, Padma, and then
Yes. It's my
H.I. Goswami.
Those who serve the Goswamis, the dust of their lotus feet, is
Ah.
my 5 kinds of food stuff.
So the devotees of the servants of the Goswamis is the dust of their feet. That's my food. So it's everything basically for him. But if there is any danger, anyone remembers again something from Bhagavatam, specifically mentioning the dust of the Mahats. Usually we forget that. But have you heard that the dust of the feet can punish you? Can actually take everything from you? So here, the foot dust of the pure devotees will deprive an offender of all his power. Nashcharyam, there's nothing wonderful. It's not surprising that yatat asattu sarvada mahad vinindita kunapatma vadishu. Those who are completely absorbed in the body, thinking that's it, that's all in all, kunapatma. They think the atma is the body, the self is the body. It's not surprising that they constantly criticize mahat vindita. Vindita means to blaspheme, criticize. Shersham Mahapurusha Pada Pamshubir. So, but the dust of the feet, even the devotee forgives that offense, the dust of the feet. Mahapurusha Pada Pamshubir Nirastar Te Jahsu Tat Eva Shobana. As they are rightly punished by the feet of the great devotees. And who says that? This 4th canto is the mother of the universe who is saying that. Talking to Chitraketu, telling him, well, you offended the great Lord Shiva, so it's rightly to be punished. Of course, he didn't actually offend, it was just a mistake. But he accepted it. Yes, whatever you say, I will be born as a demon, I will gladly accept. But the point she makes is that whoever offends great devotees, even if they are very advanced, they lose everything. Prabhupada, in the story of Rahuganath and Jada Bharat, when Rahuganath realized who Jada Bharat is, he immediately fell down and begged pardon. And Prabhupada says there, because if you commit offense like he was ridiculing Jada Bharat and criticizing him, then he realized and he begged pardon from him, because Prabhupada says if you commit an offense and if you don't get forgiveness, everything is finished. Prabhupada said all your spiritual advancement is finished. So we can of course say, this is this argument of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in Madhurya Kadambini, where he describes that there are 4 types of anarthas, coming from sinful, coming from pious activities, and the other coming from the bhakti itself, that you can get entangled in the result, the external results of bhakti. People become very favorable to serve you, to give you some things, to give you material facilities, to praise you, worship you. So Loba Puja Pratishta, you can start to like it. Oh yes, I deserve it. And that's an artha from bhakti. And then the last one, which he says is most difficult, because all these three, they are removed completely at the stage of nishta, a steady devotional service. But the fourth one, coming from aparadas, that goes up to bhava. And even if you're at the bhava way, you have spurti, you see Krishna occasionally. You can fall down. Rupa Goswami says in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, if you offend a devotee, you fell from the position of bhava. Depending on the severity of the offense, he says you can, if it's less, if the offense is not so big, you can just fall from the real bhava to chaya bhava, to just a semblance of bhava. So you'll not experience it. It will be something similar, but not the real thing. So even for a very, very advanced, and there are examples, of course, in our history, in the Shastra, about such cases. So we have to be very careful also. Try to serve devotees, try to see the greatness of all. In all the devotees, not just think, well, that was the argument of, I wanted to quote Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur when he says that this is the most dangerous offense to the devotees, and he says, and we shouldn't think that, well, devotees, Mahat, great means those who possess all the wonderful qualities, 26 qualities described in 11th canto, or the qualities described by Kapila Deva. So those who are friendly, who are, etc., tolerant. If you don't see all these qualities, they're not great devotees, no problem. So there is no offense. The offense is only for those who are completely pure and advanced. So he says, no, because, and then he gives a quote from Padma Purana. Also there is one verse in Bhagavatam in the 6th canto, a few verses after the one I quoted, that says that even once somebody who chants the name of Krishna, even once, that gives liberation. Even, the Padma Purana verse says, even the person is hypocrite, a cheater, a wretched, a fallen person, if he takes shelter of Krishna by chanting, is liberated. You have to consider. So therefore, we should always be respectful to devotees. And as Rupa Goswami gives clear guidance how we should be respectful. Of course, those who are just once chant, so even if they have low character, like Kapila Deva describes, that those who are not very advanced in their mode of worship is affected by the lower gunas, like tamoguna, it will come up, your devotion mixed with nasty expressions like envy and hurting others and pride and all that. And the Rajaguna will be expressed by thirst for material things, and even Sattva Guna contamination will come up with still subtle mixture of desires for liberation and things like that. So only those who are completely pure above the three gunas, they are naturally and spontaneously attracted to Krishna just by hearing something about him, about his name or his description of his qualities or activities. So the acharyas comment that the devotees should be careful in the association. If you see somebody displaying these lower qualities of tamoguna, you should respect from a distance, because you might get affected also. But always respect. So that's why Rupa Goswami says, anyone who chants Krishneti yasa giritam. Giritam means saying. If somebody says Krishna, manasadriyata, so in your mind you always offer respect. And those who are engaged at Dikshasti, those who have received Diksha and they worship Krishna, what do? You offer pranam. And those who are very advanced in the bhajana, you look for service and for hearing from them. They are very advanced in their bhajana, and also their hearts are completely free from propensity to criticize others. Hare Krishna, thank you for your attention. Any comments, questions, reflections? Yes, bro.
Well, I have 3, so maybe.
Wow. So we have 1 minute for each.
Okay, let's which one to choose. Again, one is practical, I'll put that aside. Okay, this one is also practical, but more broad. You mentioned about the importance of associating, and of course it can be a whole class on this, how to associate with devotees, but what I mean by it more is seemingly for many, at least speaking for myself, we are not able to engage in one type of association. For example, just to chant with a devotee or to hear Bhagavatam with them all day. So it seems the mind's struggling to be focused on one thing and just purely, basically share Krishna consciousness with someone or experience it with someone. So it seems we have to do many things to associate with devotees. So I'm just wondering, at least by my experience, and it's difficult to know in what way, how much to associate, what's more beneficial, because it seems all the activities are beneficial. But if we do too much of one, then generally we have issues because we're not engaging enough in other activities. So it seems like it's different for everyone. So I'm just wondering, how do we understand the right way as an individual, in what different types of devotional service and how much of each we associate with devotees? It's I can say for myself, like if I would just sit down and chant for 5-6 hours a day, it'd be wonderful, but I don't think I could do that. Yeah. I might end up struggling more.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's individual. I wouldn't say there's a strict formula. We just have to really look for association and pray to Krishna. That's why great devotees do. So whenever there is opportunity, we have to look for serving them, or at least praising them in the mind and appreciating every devotee. That's very important. That's also association. But the standard way is, of course, what Srila Rupa Goswami recommends. Try to exchange, have loving exchanges, give prasad, receive prasad, review your mind, hear confidentially, like that. So this type of exchanges should be there. And whenever there is opportunity, you try to do. And also, as I mentioned, by hearing, is very essential. And remembering the great devotees, the spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, the acharyas, so just remember. You hear, like Prabhupada says, you read Nectar of Devotion, you associate with Rupa Goswami. And Prabhupada said about his spiritual master, I'm always with him, he's always with me, by remembering him. So this is also very important, to associate like that. So it should be natural. Thank you.
Can I ask my second question?
Yes.
Because it's relation to Rupa Goswami, actually, it's from Nectar of Devotion, because you mentioned about how, we hear this so many times, and that if one thinks he's a devotee of Krishna, then he's not really his devotee. Krishna says that. But in Nectar of Devotion, and we recite this every time at the end of the offenses, one who claims to be Vaishnava, and a few devotees have pointed this out, and I had discussion, but Prabhupada says it, Rupa Goswami. I haven't read the Bhakti Rasamrita, the original Sanskrit, but it must be in there. Prabhupada is saying it. So how come this quote is there? One who claims to be. It just sounds a bit contradicting. We shouldn't claim a Vaishnava, but there's one who claims to be Vaishnava.
Yeah, I think it's just an expression. First of all, these offenses are listed in Padma Purana, quoted in. No, actually, they're not quoted exactly in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Prabhupada quotes them also with some part of the Sanskrit in a purport in Adilila, and then translates and explains them also in a different way than we standardly read. For example, the second offense, it has 2 meanings Prabhupada there gives, and sometimes there are 3 meanings given, and you need more explanation for that. But this at the end, I don't know where it comes. It's not in Padma Purana, because at the end, basically what it says that whoever is committing these offenses should continue chanting, because that's the only way to overcome them. Actually, I don't know where it comes from, and I'm not sure even if Prabhupada gave it exactly like that. And if he gave it, that statement, I shouldn't take it like, devotee claims, I am. But it's just whoever wants to be considered a Vaishnava should try to be free from the offenses.
Hare Krishna. Maybe question and comment from you. You were mentioning Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. You were mentioning Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, and I'm just remembering opening of CC where he's speaking about taking the dust from the lotus feet and water washed the lotus feet and also remnants of prasada. First question is, what's the difference between washing the feet, taking the water and dust? That's kind of very similar. And second thing, maybe your comment, because this year I realized that there are some Vaishnavas who are performing as a spiritual masters. They gave up on idea of washing the feet because culturally is not fitting in present time and circumstances.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. I don't know if there is a difference, but he mentions that these are very potent ways to advance the touch, the embrace of Vaishnava, the remnants of the foot and the water from washed feet, or the dust. I think it's the same basically. Again, it's symbolizing your humility and readiness to service. And I mean, itself, she says the substances are very powerful. So it comes by Krishna's arrangement like that. So either dry dust or liquid Abhishek water. And the other, yes, some may decide that this is not necessary either out of humility or because of whatever cultural reasons. But yeah, that's the whole point is more important is the mood, you know, that we do that because we want to be humble, submit ourselves, surrender and serve, not just the formal ceremony and some magic out of it, you know, we expect, but because that's the main point. And those who don't want, that's fine. You try another way. You know, the devotees are always very like Chaitanya Charitamrita, that special devotee from Bengal, which is the only way Mahaprabhu allowed to drink the water from his feet. So he was, you know that story, he was going to different devotees asking them for the remnants. And they, most of the time they didn't agree, but he was somehow getting it. And especially because he asked some, they were outcasts of law or Shudra, some law devotees, they said, how can you know, this, we cannot give any food, you know, this will contaminate you. And he was like, no problem, no. And so he gave them mangoes to one couple of family, very great devotees. And they ate the mangoes and threw the peel in the seed. And so he was waiting, hiding. So when they threw it, he got it and he had the remnants. And Mahaprabhu knew that and he appreciated that. So their devotees find their ways. You go and take the dust somehow, somewhere, you know, where they stop. I mean, that shows but it shouldn't be just, again, like a mindless or without the real motivation of surrender. It's like, okay, let me get but if I get something, then suddenly some miracle will happen. I don't need to do anything, I don't need to surrender, I don't need to serve, but just by this, so that won't work. But otherwise there are always some ways that you get some dust at least, you know, the water will be a little more difficult. Okay, thank you very much. Can you keep it for? I will give on Sunday class.
It's for Gopinath's question because I remember that in the original version of Nectar of Devotion, it says anyone who wants to be a Vaishnava.
Okay, here we go. There is another version. One's clear. I mean, we have to use our common sense. So see if you say, oh, somebody is claiming, obviously it's somebody who desires. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.